What's up, everybody? It's the president of hip hop here. I'm out on location. I just got out of the movie theater and I watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Power to the people. Word is bond. And I'm getting ready to give my spoilery review over the movie. Now, I'm getting ready to spoil the hell out of this thing. So if you haven't seen it yet, you probably would want to watch that first before you tune in to this review. Or if you just don't give a shit and you just want to watch this review anyways, just to see what it's all about, then go ahead and listen to it. So this is going to be kind of like my opinion about what I think about the movie, and it's also going to be like a review and a retrospective all at the same time, just kind of jumbled together into one. I only got limited time that I can give this review, so I'm going to try to be quick about it. Sorry about the wind and the blown out background behind me. I'm outdoors. I got my little windshield on my microphone, so I hope that helps cut down on the wind. But today is November 11th, and I went to go watch this movie at 9:30 a.m. in the morning, which makes me, being in Tokyo, Japan, makes me one of the first people in the world to see this movie, because stateside is still Thursday for you guys as I'm recording this, and you're probably all getting ready to go to bed right now. But the movie was 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Damn, it was long. But let me say that there was not a wasted minute inside of this movie. So even with as long as it was, yeah, it was just not a wasted minute inside of the movie. It was quality throughout. And this was as good of a movie that you could possibly make without Chadwick Boseman being inside of the film. So there's that. Yeah, let me give my thoughts about the movie before I go ahead and give the spiel about everything. So, it's as good as it could have possibly been without Chadwick Boseman. The only thing that could have possibly made it better was had he been in the movie, but this is as good as you can get without him. The acting, all top notch from all the actors involved. The music, I'm talking about the soundtrack and the score both. The score from Ludwig Göransson. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. It's difficult, but that guy's a hell of a composer. The music and the score, the soundtrack, absolutely amazing. The first movie, if you listen to the soundtrack, you know you have a bunch of raps inside of there, inside of the soundtrack. You got the Kendrick Lamar tracks and all that stuff. This movie's soundtrack is more African with it, and it's just, if you want to listen to some real Afro beats, this is real Afro beats inside of this movie. So it is all well. Truly, this movie has a lot of respect for culture and languages inside of here. You will hear so many different languages spoken inside of this, and it's all respected. It's not just everybody speaking English to one another from a bunch of different nations, and they all understand one another or whatnot. Just, man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to listen to, and it's beautiful to watch. The cinematography is great. They travel all over the world inside of this movie. Haiti. Wow, man, it's amazing. It's amazing. So you got to see that. If there's one negative thing about the movie, as with most Marvel movies, it's the bad guys. So Namor is the main villain inside of this movie. He's outstanding. But aside from him, it's just, he's kind of like the king, or the lead, not the king, but he's kind of like the leader of his people. His people they're all the same. When they die, there is no emotional impact. When they get killed, he has no real second in command inside of this movie. It's like him, and then it's just a bunch of nameless people that you really don't care about. So it's hard to, yeah, it's hard to relate in that sense. I mean, Wakanda, the characters, there's so many of them, and they're all fleshed out, and you have some sort of sentimentality and connection with each one of them. They're all independent, but as a group, it's like they feel even tighter because you know who they are. But with this group that belongs to Namor, it's just him, which there is a connection with him, and then there's just everybody else. So that's a negative point there. Now, let's go ahead and get on with just Spoilers from here on out. I'm just giving it all straight to you as as well as I can. The beginning of the movie starts off with the death of T'Challa from the very beginning, from the very opening scene. Shuri is trying to make a serum that could save him at the very beginning of this movie. He has an unspoken, undisclosed, uncurable illness. They never show T'Challa on camera, but it's just saying that he's getting ready to pass. And you know, Shuri's trying to make this serum or whatever that has a curable rate, but she doesn't make it in time. He passes. So you know, after trying to save him for about the first four opening minutes of the movie, then it goes to the Marvel credits, you know, where there's the red screen and it says Marvel, and then inside of the different alphabets, they show different Marvel characters. It's just all Chadwick Boseman's character inside of that with the purple background. Man, whoo. Yeah, I'm not crying, you are. So then there's the funeral scene that takes place after the opening credits. Wait a minute, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit. The funeral scene takes place after he passes, but right before the Marvel logo shows up on the screen. It seems like after Wakanda had announced themselves to the world at the end of the last movie, now everybody's in a race to want to get vibranium. And the nations of the world that you would expect to be the good guys, such as France and things like that, you know, they're trying to steal this stuff from Wakanda. And, you know, not flying under France's flag, but, you know, they dressed up inside of military garb and stuff like that, uniform, and they're trying to steal this stuff to help the betterment of their own nations, you know, for their own selfish reasons. As they try to steal some vibranium from a facility, the Wakandans are there inside of this same facility, and it's kind of a setup, and they capture all of these soldiers. Now, they could have easily killed every single last one of these guys and had every reason to kill every last one of them, but they capture all of these soldiers, and during a United Nations meeting, they bring all these soldiers captured forth, and they just throw them out there on the floor, and they said to the world, look, we know what you want, we know what you're doing, and it's not cool with us. So that was pretty cool. Then a little bit after that, you know, the world is still searching for vibranium that's not inside of Wakanda. I mean, the world is just all about wanting to get their hands on this stuff now. There's a scientist that had developed a machine that could trace this strange metal-like substance, and they developed a machine that had found some inside the Atlantic Ocean, I believe it was. Namor comes out because he wants to keep his ocean nation hidden to the world. He does not want his people to be revealed to the world. He's like how Wakanda was at the beginning of the first movie. You know, they don't want to reveal themselves, or if they do reveal themselves, they just want to leave so much out there and just withhold about their scientific technology and things like this. But Namor and his nation, he just does not want to be revealed at all. And he thinks once the people know who they are, they're going to come and they're going to try to take their vibranium, which they have some as well, and they're going to want to pillage their resources from this ocean city. So he wants to bring the scientists that made this vibranium tracing machine to his own justice. He wants to capture this person and he wants to kill them. Come to find out, the scientist that had made this machine is a 19-year-old MIT student, and it's a black female. And yeah, she built this detector as a school project, not knowing that the government was going to hijack it and use it for the purpose of detecting vibranium. She built it for a different purpose, not knowing what it was for, but they were really using it for something else. So, you know, she was kind of led on to believe that this would be used for something else, but it's not. Namor's people, and Namor had confronted the queen. What's her name? Ramonda? I forgot her name. The queen, Angela Bassett's character. He confronts her, the queen, and Shuri alone, and says, "I would like your help in bringing this this scientist to justice that had developed this machine, so that I am not discovered." And he gives kind of like an ultimatum. He says, "You can help me find this person so that I can kill them. Otherwise, I'm going to go to war with you because you are with the rest of the world." So that's kind of like that ultimatum that's sitting out there. During this conversation, or it could have been in another conversation, Namor had revealed. This is later on in the movie. Namor reveals himself as being, at least this is the first time on screen that you hear the word mutant, but he reveals himself as being a mutant. He was born to a woman that had an illness that had taken a blue plant similar to the ones that you see in Wakanda. And these people that had taken this plant, these Aztec type people, they were all suffering from a type of illness, and they were taking this plant to help cure themselves. And she was pregnant, this woman, this it was just a normal woman at the time, but she was pregnant with Namor at the time that she had this illness and took the plant at the same time to try to cure herself. So with him still being inside of the womb, it gave him sort of like some weird powers where he has powers of the ocean and kind of this world, some otherworldly type mutant strength that this helps develop for him. It turns out that the plant cures all of these Azteca type people from this illness, but they're I can't even explain it. They're relegated to living within the ocean. Like, they can't breathe air anymore. The only way that they can survive is by relegating themselves and going out to sea and living inside of the ocean. It lets them, this plant cure thing that they took, it lets them breathe underwater, but once they come above ground, then shit kind of starts to become dangerous for them. So there's that. And the name of this city, this underwater city, everybody's thinking that it's Atlantis. You never hear the word Atlantis spoken inside of this movie. The place does have a name. It's called Talokan, and it's somewhere, I guess, inside the Atlantic Ocean. But they might as well have called it Atlantis. It's pretty much the damn near same thing, but just with a different name. Maybe they just don't want to get too close with what's the damn DC movie called, the Aquaman movie, and make it be too much like that. So they're trying to differentiate a little bit, but. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking that this Namor character inside of the comics, I'm thinking that it was Atlantis that he was from. Somebody tell me that I'm wrong. I don't know, man. But anyways, Namor wants to join forces with Wakanda to wage war on the world. Like I said earlier, because they want to pillage Wakanda and Talokan the first chance that they get for their resources. And Namor thinks that they should, partner together as an alliance, and they should strike first, to keep this from happening. And they don't want to do it. They refuse to do it. So then the war is waged. The Talokan people come to Wakanda shores. They invade, and it's like the first war, the first battle takes place. And they end up killing, Namor himself, he ends up killing the queen inside of this battle. And he leaves, having won this battle, saying, "I'm going to return in 1 week. I'm giving you 1 week's time. You still have the choice to join me, and we're going to wage war on the rest of the world. If you don't, I'm going to come back here and I'm killing everybody." So he's like that. The Wakandans have 1 week to repair. Shuri makes a synthetic plant serum, because you remember it was all burned to the ground by Killmonger in the first movie, so they don't have any more of these plants left. But she makes a synthetic one that's like 98% pure, and she tested and it works. So she's using this to become the new Black Panther to prepare for this battle that's taking place within a week. She made a bunch of like suits for her guard. She has like three of them. She calls it the Midnight Angel suit, and she gives one to Okoye, and then to two others. It's kind of like an Iron Man esque like suit, not to be confused with Ironheart's Iron Man type suit, but these is like the Wakanda version of an Iron Man type suit. So Shuri makes three of these, and I guess her three best guards have that. The general has that, and I just skipped a whole bunch of shit inside of this movie. But the 19-year-old MIT scientist that had built this detector, this is Ironheart. This is the Ironheart character. She gets recruited by Wakanda, and she was never turned over to the Talokans like they assumed that they would turn her over, but it turns out that they're not going to do that after all. They help to protect this girl, and that's pretty much what the battle is about. She has her own Iron Man self-made styled suit, and you get to see that in action in the final battle. Before this last war takes place, Shuri, sure enough, takes the serum and becomes the Black Panther. She goes into the sleep, and she's on the ancestral plane, thinking that she's going to see her dead mother one last time, or thinking that she's going to see T'Challa one last time. She doesn't see either of them. She finds Killmonger on this ancestral plane, and she has a conversation with him. He gives her the advice that she thinks that she needs, and she's kind of very close to taking it. It's not good advice, I'll say the least, but ultimately, come the end of the movie, she's going to find her own way, and she's not going to listen to this advice at all. The final battle takes place in the Atlantic Ocean. Wakandas bring out a big ship, and there's a big siege on the ship by the Talokans, and there's a big battle on the top of the ship. And Shuri and Namor, they go to a beach desert somewhere off the Atlantic. You assume that it's somewhere in Africa, and they battle it out on the shore of this beach. And ultimately, she spares his life, giving him a second chance, and she asks him to yield, and he yields, and they approach the war battle scene that's taking place together as a unit, and he calls a truce, and he calls off his people from the continuing battle. He gives up, and so does his people. But ultimately, end of the movie, it ends with them striking an alliance, and Shuri saying that if anything was to ever happen where you guys were to be invaded, Wakanda would be here to help protect you. We're not going to let anything bad happen to you. You have my word. So it ends pretty peacefully, and Namor's kind of saved, I guess. But, you know, after he's done killed all these military guys and all kinds of people. But I guess he kind of has right to have killed those people throughout the movie, because they're trying to pillage shit that belongs to him. But yeah, he's killed plenty of people inside of this movie. End of the movie, Nakia, the wife of Chadwick Boseman's character, she reveals that she has a son, also named T'Challa, at the end of the movie. It is just such a tear jerker. Such a good way how the movie ends. Listen, you guys just got to see it. I'm late for work. I got about a minute to get there. I'm going to wrap this review up here, and I'm going to say thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.